When you truthify your personal assumptions of the unknown, then quantify those assumptions under the limits and exceptions of your assumptive calculations, then your personal assumptions turn into belief to others. This is an essay by Resoun B Acharya, Truthification and Limits of the Unknown. Irony is that neither your truthification nor your quantification has any relevance with the unknown's objective accuracy. Your geographical and social observations, along with behavioral symmetries, can't be the factors to subjectify the unknown and to lead yourself to set the boundaries of his likes and dislikes, approvals and disapprovals, desires and cautions. Scripturifying such psychological complexes on the truth and absolute clause is itself an attempt of your ego around socio-geographical miscalculations, destructive cracking into tribal limits, and psychological manipulations you get groomed with since birth. If you substitute all these topographies with a plane of equilibrium, then your wits and understanding will rise identically as a global instinct relative to others, might be with slight variations like in between a French bean and a fava bean. The only truthification of your assumptive absolute can be through the conscience of a maybe factor. That is when you expand in logical substitutes and accept this statement, which states, I have such observational calculations driven by my socio-geographical psyche, but maybe the distinctive variations in elsewhere result in differences with it, which is but fine to assimilate and comprehend with ease under the context of deviations in psyches according to the irrelative factors. And after conditioning yourself, your maybe factor, your assumptions undoubtedly remains is a x degree truth of the whole pie that has all the truths following the space that a belief occupies. Is a symbiotic aspect rather than competitive one. But if you claim your belief is the whole of the pie, then it becomes childishly stock-minded, irrelevantly blindfolded reasoning, and bully casing with majority, relatively metallic acidic against alkaline whole. In simple words, which makes your growth lethal, toxic and hazardous to the others who occupy the pie of truth along with you. Neither your understanding is the understanding of the unknown, nor is the unknown's understanding yours. If you assume the unknown to be an ocean and the known assumptions to be the rivers, then it will be logical, as all the known waters will be equivalent waters on the ocean without distinctive qualities and quantified segregation when they mix up all. But if you try to assimilate the river into an ocean, then it will be a huge and distinct lake, offering you the delusional parameters of your intended ocean. The difference between a lake and ocean is that you can quantify and limit the lake's structural mechanism and behavioral depths, but you can't quantify and limit the mechanism and behavioral depths of the ocean. Thus, your claim of the whole and absolute truth becomes terrible misfit in reality, though you continue a journey around your oceanified lake. And if you believe in the creative caliber and consciousness of the unknown, then each and every creatures and organisms that amounts to millions, also with adaptive precision that leads either towards diversities in species or evolving out as new species. Whereas if you go through the equivalence, then you too can't define the supremacy of one over another, because the anatomical perfectness and dominance will be the relative paradoxes with relative fallacies to your observation. But the fact which the later one exposes is the recessiveness of each and every creatures with respect to each other. If the unknown was so precise on the creative faculty, then we wouldn't see variations in species, but the intact similarities. But the fact is that the cycle of nature by itself will evolve as it is evolving as a balanced and ethical in micro level, but imbalanced and unethical in macro level. And also, if the unknown had no any reasons to create hermaphrodites and sexual beings despite the perfected reproductive duality of creation. Also, if the unknown was precisely concerned about Homo sapiens, then there would be an ideal Earth at one go, and the ready-made Homo sapiens with linguistic and philosophical societies, along with all the fixed creatures ready to act according to the natures right after the formation of Earth. We humans would be ruling the Earth since 4.5 billion years with universal divine manual or literature and one global language, with just diversity in dialects. The unknown wouldn't make us wait for billions of years till the cooling of Earth, and there wouldn't be any biotic experiments over millions of creatures before settling us down. So who the divine would ever conduct such terrible creative practices and experimentations for billions of years if it had already perfected the supreme creature who is destined to rule over others? Why the step verifications of different aspects of creative ideas would be there? If an ideal and perfect if an ideal and perfect state of the unknown would be there, then the unknown would be known to each and every creature through direct entanglement procedure. Humans wouldn't declare themselves as supreme eaters with the competitive creatures free to kill and free to be preyed upon. They wouldn't set their ethics on the social comfort or geographical needs, but divine uniformity. And nonetheless, humans wouldn't regard the unknown as their individual property, but an inclusive and common asset or creator of all the known and unknown living beings, whose equilibrium is set on natural tendencies that sin around and circumstantial existence of its creatures, and that who doesn't hold on favoritism. Humans wouldn't need to protect, preach, enforce, subjectify, argue, appeal, elaborate, and plunge the unknown to each other. They would have a universally understanding of unknown with a very with only 0.01% of intra-relative exceptions or differences. But the fact is, neither the unknown wants humans or any other creatures to limit it or know it, nor it wants to be known. Thus, bothering about it is the most useless psychological propaganda to control and exploit the socio-geographical agendas and interests of the humans themselves. Let the ethics be socio-geographical codes rather than divine directive codes. Let the divine men be hoaxers with strong motivational discipline of hoaxing about the unknown. God, who needs his own men to argue and verify on what version of it born through their respective sociolinguistic psychologies is its truth, is nothing but a master who spins his servants on a few riddles, thus on riddles into itself, while keeping his men on continuity of unsolvable or ignorable arguments. When you have enough to give, You don't ask, but you barter. It is for those who have distinct portions of a pie. Bartering with multiple individuals creates havoc, as the clauses and conditions differ accordingly. And when you have everything, you neither ask nor barter, but late. It is for the one who have the whole of the pie, the unknown. Letting creates an organized flow of things in the pie due to the absence of loading barterers' specifications and constants, but by thought of presence of the barterer. The itself is a shame on behalf of the God who couldn't universally export his truth with linguistic and scriptural precision with a clause that food and social and spiritual habits may differ according to the geographical setups. So the proper clause would be own, live and die. Wasting your time on me or the unknown sucks as it has been sucking since centuries. You want to be able to have the precision to get me on an exact measure. So you go into speculations and ruin everything, ruin yourself. So just cross me off from your list and just get on your social life without any cosmic tantrums filled up in your psychological intensities that doesn't match with me. So this could be the close of the God. So well, God is an omni pushy creature if he relies on other creatures to authenticate its existence. A riddle or paradox of God is that it comes to men like a rainbow. Some see white, some see red, green, blue, some see yellow on different aspects, and some see a combined color. Some see brown, some see red, just gray, and this and that. But the light is the truth, and the spectrum is also the truth. The white light is also the truth, and the spectrum of the colors is also the truth. But it comes with a different aspect of understanding. But the fact is, who knows that neither of them are true, but the whole of the light is just photon, who doesn't have actually a distinct color, but it reflects it so, and just a matter that's present, that's incited by the hydrogen atom when colliding in during the nuclear fusion in sun. The hydrogen atom is also the same atom that we drink every single day, every time we've been eating and feeding on hydrogen atoms. So this basically electrons and quarks that's all just get bunched up in the fusion, and that creates the light what we see, and everything is just from that, and everything is just interlinked with each other. Then we don't have to argue about God, what's God, where the God is, why the God is, and so tantrums wouldn't arise. So basically this is the misunderstanding the creatures, actually the human homo sapiens actually just deal with. Is a fallacy of understanding. So there is a micro state, a macro state, and a larger state. In a macro state, micro state, there is nothing like the colors, but there is a basic energy that tends to lead us to something very superior, subatomic particle that has been there since infinite time. It has no birth. It just gives birth to other subatomic particles, and what we are experiencing, what we are observing from our eyes, a mere distribution of such the super subatomic particle that is splitting into subatomic particles is like the threads get off fragmented from a spider's web, just like that. That's micro scale. In the macro scale, it just feels like we observe something. Observing comes at micro scale, and experiencing comes in a larger scale. In the larger scale, we experience. In a macro scale, we observe, and we just analyze or assume in the micro state. So the states differ, and according on differing on the states, our understanding differ. How we take those states into our psychologies, and how we interpret to our philosophical understanding, that makes a difference in understanding between those states. But all those states are true to each other. They actually exist without any doubts. So whatever we understand about God, or whatever we take him, if we take him like a super subatomic particle that doesn't make any doesn't interfere. Actually, it doesn't interfere in our personal life, social tantrums, nonsense, philosophical, psychological tantrums. It doesn't make us. It doesn't interfere at all. It doesn't want to be interfered with. So that's the micro level understanding. For those who don't want a micro level understanding, they understand in a macro or a larger scale. So they postulate according to their understanding, according to their observation. If I see a photon, and if I see an energy beside that, and the energy is striking off and producing photons, and if I just get into the energy and just pull it out and get to the origin of the energy, then that's my truth. If someone sees a white light, that's his truth. If someone sees red a wide range of spectrum, that's his truth. If someone sees ultraviolet or infrared, that's his truth. So the truth is basically a wide spectrum of the truth is around us, and we just choose one from other according to our understanding and our uh, basically our willpower to understand. If we don't want to understand, we don't understand. We don't take the truth, the next truth. They're just next to us. So there's basically choice, preference of understanding that creates differences in the assumptions of truth. So basically everything that we assume is true relative to each other. But actually God doesn't interfere at all. That's the base of everything, the basic truth of everything. That so we must not must not think about much of about the super subatomic particle just interfering in our daily lives, and likes, dislikes, and this and that. That's absolutely a waste of time. Thank you.